Okay, then I guess it's my time. If people are ready or not ready. For people who haven't gotten their paper yet or don't have a square piece of paper, I'm going to show you how to prep your paper. But first and foremost, welcome to my origami folding session. We're going to do a pretty simple Pete the Python. And when you're done, you should have a pretty neat looking guy like this. And if you want, you can even do your hashtag PWC 2022. Might be a little blurry, but there we go. It's a fun project. You can make them in all different kinds of sizes and colors, and you can make a whole group and have them all be friends at the end. So first and foremost, getting your paper. I am going to be using this origami paper that came in our swag bag. This is a 15 centimeter square piece of paper. But if you don't have that, any piece of paper will do. This is just like a 8.5 by 11 construction paper. So if you don't have your paper or you need to grab a drink, now's a great time. If you have just a regular piece of paper, I'm going to show you how to prep a regular piece of paper just in case you didn't have a square. So it's not bad. You just, actually, I'll use red. That'll show up a little better. And just take your paper, take one of your corners here, and you're going to fold it back until it meets the edge. And go ahead and get a nice crease there. Now you have this blank edge here. All we want to do is fold this back out of the way until it's flat with the other side. So now I have like a cool little sailboat. And then at this point, with this flap here, you can go ahead and either cut this off or rip it. I'm going to live life on the edge and rip it here because I have a backup. And what I usually do if I'm ripping paper is I put my fingers real close to that line. This is my fold. And just kind of slowly pull straight out. Ripping that. And then once I get to the edge, I like just put my finger flat and leave it on the ground. And there we go. So if you didn't have a piece of paper already, this will give you the piece of square that you need to work through this project. And it's fine to have that crease. We're going to be making that crease later. All right, I'm going to put this one to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and use a nice bright blue piece of origami paper. So your origami paper is going to have a solid color side, and then one side is likely going to be like a white plain side. This is the side we want to show on the outside, and as we fold, we're going to end up hiding this side on the inside of our python. All right, so everyone ready? Good to go? Alrighty. So first and foremost, we're going to put this side facing up towards you, the white side. Now we're going to take this corner and we're going to fold it right back to the other corner. You want to kind of make sure you keep your edges nice and sharp there. Keep your point sharp. Then run your fingers along that edge. Now, this fold here is going to be really important for the whole rest of this tutorial here. So go ahead and just take some time, just run your finger over that edge. Make sure it's a nice, sharp, flat crease. I like to take the edge of my thumb and just roll down the edge or slide it down. Slide back towards me. If you have more strength in one direction than the other, you can go ahead and turn it and make sure that you apply a lot of pressure to both sides so you have a really flat crease. I'm going to go over it just a couple more times because I really want to make sure this is a good solid crease here. Ooh, there we go. All right. So now we've got the crease here. We're going to open this up again. I'm going to turn this way so it's a little easier. So I'm opening up here. We're going to take this corner here. We're going to fold it in towards the center. So before you go making folds or creases, I like to put my finger here so it's a little easier to control where that is. and you want to get as close to the line as possible without going over. If you go over, it's going to be a bit harder when we're further down trying to fold the folds you need to do. So you want to get as close to that line as possible without going over. So once you're in about the right spot there, go ahead and press down and make that crease. Once again, you're going to want to run your fingers over that crease and make sure it's nice and flat. And like go both ways. Make sure you get out to this corner right here, that sharp corner. We want that nice and sharp. Okay. So now I've got one side folded in. I'm going to take this corner over here. We're going to do the same thing in mirror image. I'll put my finger right here to kind of control where that point folds. I'm going to pull that in towards the center. Get it real close to that center line. And then make my crease. Yeah. So now we've got like a kite here. And you can see now why we were keeping that white side towards us, because we're already covering up most of this. So it's going to be pretty much completely hidden once we're done. Okay. We've got the kite. Go ahead and make sure the point here is nice and sharp as well. And everything's nice and flat. All right, how's my Zoom group doing? All righty?
Yep.
Okay, looks like I've got most of y'all with me. Yes, I see kites. I love it. Great. Lots of blue too, which I also love. Pink is great too, as is yellow. All right, so now we've got this. I'm going to turn this to the side again. We're going to take this corner here and we're going to fold that in towards the center as well. So this is where it starts getting really tight in this corner up here to get that nice and sharp. So I put my finger in, like I said, to kind of help guide the paper. We want to go into the center without going over. And there we go. And run your fingers over the edge, get a nice crease. Make sure that top corner is also nice and sharp. Okay. So now that I've got this ended folded in, great. We're going to do the same thing with this corner here. I'm going to fold it in towards the center again. Put my finger here at the top. Carefully fold it in towards the center. Being careful not to overlap. There we go. Now, take some time here to run your fingers over that edge, get it nice and flat. Give some extra attention to that tail here that we've got. I'm going to do this a couple more times just to make sure this edge especially is nice and crisp. All right, and now we've got a lean kite or an ice cream cone feeling right now with just a little bit of white poking out. All righty, everyone looks like they're doing great. Okay, so we're up to this point. I'm going to turn this back this way. So now our white end is facing this way. So I'm right-handed. We're going to take this corner right here and we're going to fold that in towards the center line. Coming into the center, fold that in and make a crease. Now in this case, I'm going to pay attention to this corner right here and make sure that I've flattened this corner right here out nicely. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with this corner here on this side. I'm gonna fold that in towards our center line there. Run my fingers along, try and make sure that this corner up here is also flat. Okay, so now we should have this kind of shape here. If you flip it over, there should be no white showing anymore. We basically covered up all of that. Yes, I see lots of success. I love it. Okay, so now that's where that center line we made earlier. We're going to see how well you folded that one. So this is my edge with the pockets, and then you have a smooth edge. So my edge with the pockets, I'm going to fold this so that my pockets are on the outside. So you should be folding right along that first line that you made. You can see today I didn't get the crispest lines on the center there. It's punching out a little bit, but that will be fine. So this is where I folded probably a little bit too close to the center line. So I have a little bit hanging out there, but for the sake of our Python, it will be fine. So I will just leave it as is. But the key is we're going to have this shape. And we're going to have this little flap here on the outside. How are we doing there? Okay, great. All right, now we're going to start making our Python shape. So this is what's going to end up being our head, and this is going to be our tail. So this with the small triangle, you see we have this line here. We're going to take our tail and fold it following that line. Now, I'm just flipping mine over because I didn't get the best fold earlier, so I want to make sure I get this as flat as possible. The sharper your line is, the easier it's going to be as you keep going. I'm going to make a little adjustment here so it's a little bit easier for you to follow here. I'm going to fold my little excess into the center, so it's not sticking out and so it looks a bit clearer as I do this. Typically, I would just start over, but this is the joy of live demos. I have a whole swarm, and this is the first one that stuck out like this. Okay, there we go. So now, if you made it this far, good for you. You got a fancy check. You've done a good job so far. All right. Now, as we start to fold this tail, the way we fold this the first time is always going to be the way we want it to end up, but we have to tuck it in so it looks cute. So if the tail is pointing up, my finger is going to come into the fold from the other side. So you see there's that fold there where your finger can fit into. All right. So now this line should be nice and crisp at the bottom. We're going to kind of fold this back. We are going to pinch this and push it up, folding up against that line. So if I look at it from the side that's open, you can see I'm kind of making a kite. I'm holding his snout. And then you're going to push that up into that area. And now you've kind of got your check mark again, except it's got a little pocket. It's almost like a tiny little boat. So I'm gonna go back and do that one more time so you can see it again, because it's kind of a strange action there. So I started this way with my pocket here. That pocket made a line, and you can see that line. I'll put a piece of paper here so you can see that line right there. You want to fold your body up along that line. So you have your check mark. We're going to put our finger into the fold from the top here. When we come down, we're going to kind of pinch this side here with the check mark and push this up and into that crease. Then once again, from this side, if I did that, it would look like this. I'm pushing it up and in. So you should still have your check mark again. Except now you have a fold pocket on both sides of your check mark. Okay. Looks like I've got most people along the way. It looks like we're doing pretty good from here. Alrighty, next step. I'm gonna put this like this way so that this edge is straight and this edge is kind of there. Now I'm gonna say for my piece of paper, about a thumbnail's width. In centimeters on this mat, it's about 3 centimeters-ish. We're gonna make a fold and fold this tail down. And we want this space here between the bottom of that paper and the piece we folded to be a right angle. We want that to be the corner of a square. Then we're gonna crease. All right, how's that? Now make sure you get a nice fold there. Good. Now, like before, the tail's pointing this way, so my finger goes into the fold from the bottom here. We're going to bend that up again. We're going to pinch that crease we just made right here on that fold. When you pinch that crease, the tail's going to want to stick down. You're going to have that little kite area from the back, and then you fold it shut. And now you've got like the world's worst throwing star. So you should have that zigzag at this point. How are we doing? Okay, I'm seeing success. I'm seeing a couple confused faces. Is there anything I can do to help the confused faces? Alrighty. Okay.
I never quite got to the boat.
Same. I'm stuck in the check mark.
Yeah.
Well, I can always circle back once we finish this set and kind of go through it again. I think we probably have enough time. We'll see when I get to the end. All right, so we have this mark that's downward. Okay. So now I'm gonna fold this guy this way. And just a little bit, like maybe a finger's width, not a whole lot. We're going to crease up this way. Do that about there. You can kind of start seeing now, we're starting to get that zigzag of our snake here. So just like the other folds, kind of make that nice square corner right here and just going straight up. Now, once I feel like that's a nice good fold, the tail is pointed this way, so my finger comes in from this side, from the same side as the tail. I'm going to start to fold this down. That line I just made, I'm going to pinch it the other way and push this in. So from this end, this is what it looks like. And then we're going to fold it back out. And then this is the shape you should be left with. Okay. Now we've got one more fold to do on this tail section because we want our tail folding down. I mean, if you wanted a really sassy snake, you could leave it up, but we're gonna have ours fold down for today. So I like to line mine up so I know how I have to fold it straight. So that this part is nice and straight. And then I'm gonna fold down. This is starting to get small, so it's probably a little hard to see. Let's see, can I zoom in? Will this work? There we go. Just refocus. So you see, I just folded that straight down again. That's my little corner here. I'm gonna push on this with as much weight as I can to kind of get that fold to stay there. And since this is folding down, I put my finger in from this end here. You see that little crease I got right here? I'm gonna pinch that crease. And then it should start to fold in on itself. Got my kite again from this end. And then we're gonna let it naturally go down. So that's our tail there, but. So now at this point, if you stood him up, you would have a snooty snake with his nose upturned to the air. So now he needs a face. He needs a little bit more personality than just the snoot nose here. And since this is so small, I think I'll try and leave the camera zoomed in for this and just stay in the square. So now this end that we just kind of left alone from the very beginning, if you remember, this is the first pocket we made that's open right there. We're going to go up just a little bit. So I'm doing about a fingernail's width again here. And we're going to hold it. Hold it outwards. Okay. So we've got it folded facing forward. Now here, this is the one time where we're going to do things a little bit differently because we actually want our face to point in that direction, but we don't have a fold here we can use. So this time we're going to put our fingers in here on the bottom side. And we're going to kind of pinch very lightly. I'm only saying
Cute.
pinch.
Zoom
So
out.
you
Yeah,
can-
there you go. That's
There you go.
perfect.
Because we're going to push this down and kind of pop it back up. So I'll do that one more time. I have my fold like this. Then I kind of lightly hold it on this side. And we want to push this other side down and fold it around. Yes.
He's so cute.
So now that top side before, you can see it from the top now. It's almost like a little triangle facing forward that we folded down on both sides to make this face.
I think mine has a broken tail. Sad.
I made a cobra that got ran over by a car.
But you've got one last step here. Since his nose is a little pointy, so I'm going to turn this way since I'm right-handed. It's a little easier for me to do this, but with the face going straight, you're going to fold just a little bit straight back, just a little bit. I'm going to put some red paper behind here for contrast. So I basically just went from here. I took this pointy bit and I went straight back. So now it's got a flat nose. Then I'm going to put my finger in the bottom of that pocket here, unfold that, and we're going to use that straight line to just stuff that nose back into here. So you stuff it in and you fold it on the other side. You get a square nose. Now at this point, you can grab your favorite pen and marker and give your Pete some odds. And if you're daring, go ahead and just hashtag PWC 2022. And I'd love to see what you came up with.
I'm gonna have to rewatch the recording and try again because I never got past the check.
Here you go.
But that's the cool thing about LoudSwarm. We can just watch it again.
Here's your Pete the Python.
Well, Christine,
And once again, you can use any size paper, so you can have. Let's zoom back out
Calvin's
again.
has got bling. You
can
know,
have
you may have to wear shiny pants tomorrow, Calvin, just in honor of that
Oh,
and hang out with me.
all kinds of size pythons.
With this setup, you can't see the pants. Like it's only on the top.
You're gonna have to work. I don't know. Maybe you'll have to stand on a stool.
Stand on my chair.
Is he wearing pants at all?
That's
We don't
that is-
know.
right. That is the question.
I think you're gonna have to now tell the shiny pants story since
Oh, look at the little snake den over at Julia's.
that's so cute. They're so cute.
One of the things I like to do in my dorkiness is like you can like make them move. Just simply, they're like you can play with them and have them go places. It's the little joys in life.
I love your whole little family over there.
So how was that? I know we have a couple check marks still.
Maybe you should
How
take it
much
from
time
check
do
mark.
we have?
No, I don't think, but I think we'll just have to rewatch on LoudSwarm. I mean, I don't think obviously it's not instructor error. It is.
No, I
It's
need
a
a nap
bit tough
after
to
this
see
tutorial.
it.
Totally
Hmm?
need a nap now. Hardest tutorial of the entire.
You actually got you got a little Pete.
Yeah,
I'll say
I'd rather write
the,
unit tests.
the foil paper was more difficult to work with. It feels thinner and I don't know, it was more finicky.
Yeah, like that's the funny thing about paper. We don't think of paper as things that stretch. We think of them as almost kind of rigid, but paper has a fiber and it has a way that it folds. And sometimes embellishing the paper or the type of paper you have, you may fold something and it's going to naturally want to crease one way or the other. And that's why I stress so much, like fold this, like get as sharp as crease as possible because you're trying to tell the paper what you want it to do. Or else sometimes you start getting like pockets or it'll flex or it'll do strange things. Like origami paper, I find in particular, tends to want to pucker. And it's like a very smooth paper. So sometimes it tends to want to pucker or make strange creases or things. Whereas like construction paper will make a real easy crease. As you can see, if I try and crease this, it tries to fold without me even having to press it. It's already got a crease here that you can kind of see. And that's just the way these fibers go. Whereas I'll use a brighter origami sheet here, like a yellow. If I start to do that with the origami, it doesn't crease as readily. You see, like I can fold that back out and it's still springy. And that's just paper quality, the different types of paper and the fibers and the ways they're put together. They'll all fold differently. The joy of paper. It's kind of like fabric.
Um, Except he's got a beard for some reason. Oh, ah.
So cute. Is that yarn? What is it?
No, I had a pink marker and white paper and I just colored it.
Just
Stuck it in.
He looks like he's fire breathing.
Yeah, he does. I do have a
Fire
different
breathing
dragon.
Petey.
He's huge.
So if you fold a bit of the nose back out, then you can kind of make a little,
feel like a little tongue.
yeah.
That's like with the bigger ones. With the small ones, it's hard, but you can kind of just pull a little down and like pull it out of the way to get different features. That's the fun part about these. Like when it comes to the face, there's so much you can do if you can get your fingers in there and start manipulating it. That's the hardest part. Like I
That
think
was the
this
problem,
was the
getting
smallest
my
one I
fingers
made.
in the pocket.
Yeah, like, so when I have the big one, it's so much easier because you're just like, yeah, I have all this space. Like my whole finger fits into any of these pockets. That's not a problem. But then when I was making this little guy, which is even smaller than what we worked on today, he's like super tiny. So you can see the size scale. So this is the 15-centimeter origami paper. This was actually just a piece of a notepad that I have. Like I have a little notepad paper that I keep at my desk here. So compared to this, you can see the size difference. Way smaller. And then this big guy was made with construction paper. So you can kind of see these are the, I can't zoom my camera out anymore, but these are the different sizes of paper that made these 3 exact snakes here. As long as it's square, you can do it. That's the most important thing. So like you could technically get like a poster board. It'd probably be torture to get those creases, but as long as it's square, you can make a giant, giant peak. I'm glad people had fun. I'm glad we had lots of different snakes.
So fun.
It's fun to teach and it's cute. It's just like a joyful, nice, you know, after you've melted your brain through all of these really technical talks and all of this absorbing information, it's kind of nice to just work out something physical with instructions like this.
Exactly. Julia, you need to add this to your talk that we should do origami in addition to shaking and dancing.
All the stages of relaxation.
Totally. Oh, you're muted, Julia. I don't know if you were talking.
No, my son was just asking me a question.
Oh, did he enjoy making an origami snake?
Did you like it, Felix? Yeah. He did.
Nice.
I'm excited to go back and watch and try again because I didn't get very far. I feel like
so excuse me if I embarrass myself on this. I'm kind of a clown. Oh, did you guys get that?
No, what was that?
I'm kind of a clown, sorry.
Oh. This is the perfect place to be that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm the expert and I still have like not the best feet even. So you never know. Life is gonna throw you whatever it feels like that day. It's like I should put the better looking feet in. Let's swap them in with this replacement. There we go. It's like the cooking shows where you
That's
just
what I was
like,
gonna say. It's just like the
ta-da!
cooking shows.
all
Oh,
done.
here we go. I happen to have the perfect feet over here. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Annette, for taking us through making Pete the Python in paper, doing the origami. That was so fun. I now also realize that my keyboard is exactly your colors. I put that up there.
I love it.
I do too. That was awesome. That was totally fun. Christine's got the tongue out on hers. That's so cool. Yeah, post your Pete's up when you get them all done. Put them on Twitter. Put them in the hallway track. Show the people who didn't make it to the cool social what the awesomeness was that we were doing here during after hours at Python Web Conference 2022. No, I appreciate you all so much. This is really fun. Conferences are like, this is what it's about. Like, it is hanging out with all the people, doing fun things and learning and getting to know all your fellow Pythonistas. And exercising all of our fun, unique skills as humans. So it doesn't have to end there. If folks want to still kind of hang out a little bit, we can all go over into the Wonder Space, which is pinned in the hallway track in Slack. There's a bit.ly link there that will take you right into the Wonder Space. We can hang out further if you all like. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Annette, again. It was so awesome.
Thank you, Annette.
Thanks for having me.